You Tommy?
Thomas Angelo.
Detective Norman.
You alone?
No self-respecting badges coming in here unless it's the health inspector.
What can I get you?
Just a coffee. Thanks. Dip your beak.
No, thanks.
Suit yourself. So, you said on the phone you might have a proposition for me.
That's right.
Well, if you're looking to set up a gravy train, you called the wrong cop. I'm not looking for any, associates.
Good. Because I'm on the nut. Can't even pay for the coffee. But I got plenty to trade.
Well, let's hear it.
How long you been in town?
3 years. Caught my teeth in Empire Bay.
Well, they handed you the Morello case. Right out of the gate.
That's what the paper says, ain't it? And what's it to you?
Tough break. Case must be getting pretty cold by now.
Or you got something might warm it up?
Yeah, I might have something.
And what's my end of the deal? You want money? Some sort of immunity?
None of that. I got people I need to protect.
Families. Always the Achilles heel, ain't it? So who you got? A sick ma or a wife and a litter of kids?
Wife and daughter.
And no one else to watch your back, I'm guessing.
Wouldn't be here otherwise.
Pity that. Pa always said a man needs friends if he's going to survive in this world.
Yeah. Well, in my world, it's the other way around.
No surprise there. Look, I can't promise anything for your family, not until I hear what you're trading. So, are you talking? Or are you just killing time before they come for you?
You think I'm on the run?
Oh, I know it, Tommy. Jesus, look at you. Surely gassed. You haven't slept for days. And your neck's got to be aching from all that looking over your shoulder you're doing. No, the way I figure it is you got someone powerful mean on your tail and they ain't giving up until you end up in the river. And you walk out that door without me, we both know you're not making it 5 steps. But, yeah, you stick around, you tell me your story, and maybe you got a shot at living long enough to walk that girl of yours down the aisle. Either way, looks like I'm buying you a cup of coffee.
Christ, I don't know how everything got so balled up.
No one ever sees the haired pen until it's too late. But you didn't get handed a heater in the nursery, did you?
No. I was a cab driver back in '30. I mostly drove nights, because the money was better. It was at the end of one of those shifts, when I first met Polly and Sam. Shit!
Get up, Polly! There's a taxi here! We'll be okay! Move it! Come on!
Where to?
Anywhere. Fast! What are you doing? Get this! I got a gun pointed at you. They catch up, we're dead. But you don't get to walk away.
I don't want any trouble.
Well, you got trouble. Drive. How the hell they know we'd be there? Doesn't matter now. We just gotta lose them.
How many cars we got following?
One for now. But there'll be more.
Hold tight. I'm gonna try something. Who were those guys?
You don't get to ask questions. We need to get over the river. Take the Giuliani Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Your leg okay up there?
Hurts like hell.
When we're back, I'll wake up the doc.
I don't know, it might be okay.
Just getting the call anyways. Hey, I see you listening, cabbie. You don't get to listen either.
All I'm doing is taking you guys where you want to go.
So do that.
Okay, we're at the river. Where am I taking you once we're over the bridge?
I'm getting tired of the questions.
More of them!
Ah, shit!
I know some shortcuts that'll slow them down.
I don't care how you do it. Just shake them off. That was your shortcut?
I lost him, didn't I?
Not all of them.
These guys really don't like it, do they?
Sometimes business partners fall out. It happens. Quit yapping, Polly. More he knows, more chance of him not seeing the sun come up.
I ain't heard a thing, fellas.
You left them in the dirt.
We ain't clear yet, keep driving! Poor bastards digging the road for the works program aren't gonna thank us for this.
3 crates down. How many motors were at the exchange?
4, 5 maybe? Knowing him, he's called for more.
Sure feels like it.
Next time, we take more muscle. We should have expected trouble. If the boss hears about this, there'll be hell to pay.
They must have sent word out. There's more and more of them. We're not gonna last long unless we're back on our own turf. Let's get back to the neighborhood.
West Harbor Bridge, cabby, fast! The bridge is up, ain't it?
Yeah. We can make it.
What the hell are we doing?
Just sit tight and pray. Never done that before.
Me neither.
Okay, so Little Italy. Now. Your night's not over.
I didn't see this coming. You think he squealed?
I think you zip it tight. We talk it through back at the bar. Okay, we're close.
Pull over in front of that bar.
Salieri's place.
Yeah, that's the one. Wait here.
What for?
You want a little something from the Don or not?
Compensation for your services. Any damage to your car. This makes us square.
I'm sure it's more than enough.
Good. Don Salieri wants you to know that he's very grateful. So if you ever need anything, maybe a loan or some honest work, don't hesitate to ask. Don doesn't forget his friends.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
One more thing. This matter stays between us. Anyone asks where you got that money, you won it at poker. The scratches on your car, you swerved to keep from hitting a little old lady. You got it?
Nah, of course.
See you around, kid.
When I opened the envelope, I could have had a heart attack. Enough to fix the cab. Nearly enough to buy a new one. I thought about what Sam said about work. I wasn't interested. The money was good, sure, but I didn't want to get in with criminals. Better to be poor and alive than rich and dead. So, right there, back then, I was out. After that night with Salieri's guys, I was back working as soon as I could. But it felt different. You get a lot of time with your thoughts when you're a cabbie. And other people's thoughts, too.
You there, driver?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you driving or loitering?
Driving, ma'am. Always driving. So where to?
St. Michael's Church, directly. Careful, please.
I always drive careful.
Then you'd be the first. Turn that racket off. I can't hear myself think. That's much better.
Well, I hope this afternoon
So,
finds you well.
church.
You're listening to WBBS.
It's Sunday already?
The best
Eyes on the
meals come
road,
from the best
please.
ingredients, and there's nowhere with a better selection of groceries than Behringer's Market Square. Visit us next time you're downtown. You've got the invitation, you've got the outfit. Now, what's missing? Of course, the piece de resistance, the handbag. Behringer's women's department has a vast range of styles to suit your particular taste.
I asked you to drive carefully.
Italy, France, and Great Britain. And now, back to WBDS, broadcasting live from Behringer's department store.
Stop there, by the park.
Here you go. St. Michael's. That'll be 30 cents.
The only tip I'll give you is to stop smoking in your vehicle. I felt like I was sitting in an ashtray.
Sure. Whatever you say.
As I tell this Rose.
Better find a new fare.
Art gallery. Get me there quick.
Sure. Quick I can do. Taking some time out.
What's it to you?
Not much. Just talking.
I'm paying you to drive, so do that. Look at him out there. The problem with this downturn is that it's made people lazy. Giving them an excuse.
The work's not out there, pal.
The work is always there. You just have to find it.
I get it. You're a busy guy. I don't see so many these days.
I saw... Hey, I said fast, no break! Looks like the cops... Art gallery. Get me there quick.
Sure. Quick I can do. Taking some time out.
What's it to you?
Not much. Just talking.
I'm paying you to drive, so do that. Look at him out there. The problem with this downturn is that it's made people lazy. Giving them an excuse.
The work's not out there, pal.
The work is always there. You just have to find it.
I get it. You're a busy guy. I don't see so many these days.
This is what passes for driving in Little Italy?
I don't see so many these days.
I saw this crapshoot depression coming. Sold out before the crash. So yeah, I get to be busy.
Your busy day's gonna be looking at old paintings?
I have a business meeting there with a colleague. Not that it's anything to do with you. If you ever find a real job, then maybe you'll understand. Until then, drive and quit bothering me.
Yeah, I get you.
Someone take
going? Pull up in front of the gallery. Thanks, pal. There's 50 cents. Don't spend it all at once.
I'll try not to. Every fare today's been a son of a bitch. On to the next.
Ooh, boy, you look like shit.
I've been working since 5. What's your excuse?
Booze.
Figures. Where are we going?
Little Italy, 21st Street.
Okay. If I don't tell the cops about the liquor on your breath, you don't tell them when I break the limit. Good deal.
Great deal. Got any good fares today?
Yeah, some. But never enough of them.
Who's got the money for cab rides since the market tanked and it all went to shit, I guess? Only reason I got you taking me places is I'm drunk and don't know better. Cops see enough drunk fellas. They're only after the people moving it and selling it.
Yeah, but I've seen them go after guys for less.
Guess so. If they think they can shake something out of you, they will use any excuse. This city's corrupt as all hell.
Sure is.
Nearly there. Just up here on the corner, please.
Check your last 7 times.
Hey, my cousin has a coffee stand around the corner. Tell him Lucio sent you. Take a break, huh?
Thanks. Might just do that.
Whoa, Jesus!
Hey, how you doing, pal? You remember me? Yeah? Huh? Mr. Morello's a little bent. Shouldn't go helping Salieri's goons, huh? I'm gonna have to give you a beating. Just so you always remember who runs this town. Make it so you won't do much rocking for a while. Look at this guy. I didn't think he'd make it fun. Let's get him.
Oh, Jesus, let me live.
Said to meet at 3 o'clock.
I got the bargains. I got deals.
He said to me at 3. Son of a bitch always keeping me waiting.
Appreciate it. No. I will say I mean I still have no idea why Joe didn't interject. I pretty bad about that, I guess. He should have been a mediator, but that's that's a make. But I wish he had. I'm not. I I see. I noticed shit and everything. That's on me. But you're right. It's and you know what? It's a two-way street. Um, and I was being a bit aggressive too. I'll admit. Yeah. Exactly. I in that moment you might have heard me say something. you might have heard me say it to him. I don't know if you didn't, but I even remember in that moment I was like, I was saying to him, I was like, it's like, you can jump in at any time, man. It's like I hate when people just like when you just sit and they just quiet, and I'm like, people do that because they're afraid to escalate, right? They don't want to make it worse. So I get that, but yeah. Sure, I'm a. Yeah. Which, hey, a lot of people are like that, and trust me, if they're always listen. There's again, everyone has topics like that, right? There's people that will just go from 0 to 100 with stuff, right? And it's like people will just be like, no, thank you, because it'll be something that'll be like way too out there. But you're right, in the sense of just yeah. But this is definitely one where the only reason I mention him specifically is because I know he knows you well and he knows me well, so that's why I feel like so in this case he would have been able to jump in a little bit, yeah. So, but I'll in turn also apologize for being very aggressive, way more so. Something you've never seen out of me before, that I've never been. And he's told me, what to expect, and it's sometimes people that just you just tell me about just your general kind of sense of humor, and just wasn't clicking in my head maybe either. So so I can never tell if people. It's hard to say.
Okay then. See your boys around. So Lou. Least we could do. Come on. Say hi to the Don.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was probably also just overreacting to nothing, really. It was just a weird scenario that I was like, in my head, it wasn't, oh, this person's on the app, that's weird. It was just thrown off because I was like, you were in a fucking drive-thru, and it was just strange to me. I know you. Yeah, I was just puzzled more than angry. That's really what it was, and now I think about it now, it's just kind of funny, but yeah, which for what it's worth, right? Now for the future, I do know this, so now it's not gonna throw me off, because it would have been mentioned at some point, anyways, in a far less dramatic way, even from yourself. So yeah, it was probably just threw me through a loop, I guess, and believe me, and trust me, it's been a weird enough year for me. Dude, I just lost touch with a friend because I had a freak out at his house because I went from 0 to 100 over nothing, basically, but it was just something that went off in my head. I was telling somebody my friend's roommate, I was telling him some factoid about the game we were playing, right? And my my friend then invited me over, heard me say a particular word, which it happened to be the word terrorist because it was something related to Tony Hawk games of all things. It was some weird obscure thing. Just that just happened to be the key word, unfortunately. And instead of just acknowledging it and not caring, I went off on him, and it got bad, and he kicked me out. And then I smacked his door, and I made a piece of glass fall out somehow. Definitely wasn't trying to, but it happened. And then he almost could have physically hurt, and then he came out and grabbed me and could have thrown me down the stairs and hurt me. Amazingly, he did not. I was playing. That was me being 100% passive. It's like yeah. I don't know. It's nothing that's never happened before, but I will say something is an issue that that a lot of people that know said friend have agreed upon is the fact that that he drinks a lot. He buys these like cheap vodka bottles, and he makes these what I just referred to as vodka Mountain Dews because it's just those two ingredients. It'd be like just it's like cheap vodka and like Mountain Dew Voltage, right? The blue one, so whatever, something like that. And I've had, and I mean it's fine, it's fine, it's nothing, it's not meant to be anything. But this bottle is meant to last at least 2 to 3 weeks, right? He makes it last 2 to 3 days, tops. Yeah, and so so he said multiple today. Yeah. And I know, and there's lots of people that I'm like, who I've told, I was like, you gotta get it through his skull. That I was like, there's a lot of things that he already doesn't, it's already bad enough that he doesn't, feel that, he won't even walk places, just to, do shit. To him, traveling is walking to 7-Eleven and back. He doesn't even take. But he did. Yeah, but he doesn't even. But he work. Yeah, but he also works at a bar that's on the other side of Lakewood, and he doesn't even take the bus. I'm like, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, I wish he would just. I'm like, I wish he would just do that, at least. But. Yeah. Yeah, that maybe the best thing I can say, if you can even call it a net positive, is the fact that it is really just he's not, not buying like 30 different types of alcohol. Yeah, when I first met him, he used to be like full party mode, and it was bad. These days it's yeah, oh yeah, oh for sure, yeah. It just he would, yeah, and he would just do stuff, and it's the kind of thing where he wasn't gonna fucking drive a car off a cliff kind of bad, It was, not something to see in, like, The Hangover kind, nothing that insane, but definitely enough where it's like, but he'd get drunk enough where he'd become angry drunk, right? And and like be able to he's punched many a hole as I've been told. I was not there for those, thank God, but as
I don't know what Ralph's trying to pull, giving us this motor.
but yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, oh it's terrible. Yeah, it's that whole thing. I and I will say and I'm already the kind of person that says too much to begin with. The last time I saw Joe, I accidentally said something that really mean that I did not mean to say, but it just kind of came out because I didn't know the right way to say it. I basically told him by not totally by just one of those, like, it's like when you have like an inner inner thought and it comes out by accident instead of staying in there. I accidentally said to yeah, I basically said to him, nothing you show me is something. I basically told him that everything that he shows me is shit. And then I had to like kind of bring that back around. I was like, no, wait, shit. Why did I say that? I was like, no. Let me try that again. Luckily, it was the 4th of July, so a lot of things that would have distracted him after that point. It was the most. I was like, I was like, I have never been that mean to him before. I was like, why would I say that? What I was trying to say, I was trying to give constructive criticism, because the thing I was trying to say to him was like, I go over there and it's like, what do you want to watch? And I'm like, I have no idea, because everything I watch is too fucking long, or it's like very, very specific to someone like me, kind of thing. I tried to, I don't know what he'd want to watch. Joe's very basic in that sense. It's hard with people, right? That is, yeah, which is Joe, yeah. The thing is that it's like, but how many times can I see stuff about wrestling before I'm like, I want to jump out a window? I'm like, I get it. Yeah. Granted, the last time he showed me something that was wrestling related, it was actually funny because it was someone doing voices dubbed over these wrestlers and saying what they're saying, and it's just like, someone doing the Elmo voice, but they're saying stuff that's coming out of The Rock, right? Something like that. Oh no, not even AI. No, this guy was doing just on the fly VO, recorded over it. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I listen. A bunch of channels that I've subscribed to are just AI president shit. I can't help it. It's so stupid. It's entertaining. Yeah, it's because because there's no. Most interesting for me is that Joe Biden's AI voice is the most consistent one, and Trump and Obama's kind of fluctuate around. But I get kind of ones where it's like kind of sounds like actual Trump, like it's goes from speaking, and then ones where it's kind of more kind of similar to Trump, or maybe how he would, or how he might have, used to talk or something like that. It's very strange how this AI. Sorry, go ahead. Necrophilic type of speech, huh? Yeah. We'll try. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. And yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Right, because because Obama has the pauses, right? Um, and yes, my I think what cracks me up is AI programs sometimes a, if a character starts to like I've seen it a lot, especially with Trump is there's someone that has it and it's like they're like all three voices are like on point and they're not saying they're not always saying the. I mean, there's people that just go for the like have these characters say funny internet shit, but usually the way that this guy writes it, it's that it's more grounded stuff. It's it's still it's like Trump's still like the aggressor and he's just kind of the asshole of the trio, and it's just um and AI and there's all this and they make and Joe's written as the idiot basically. It's a very Ed and Eddie dynamic in that sense, which wouldn't shock me. But yeah, it is it's interesting just how it all balances out. But you're right, yeah, there is something about Joe's voice is very in this one thing, Mark, yeah. But yeah, definitely whenever like Trump gets more higher pitched, sometimes programs get a little it starts to freak out for a second, which is just very funny to me because it just makes a kind of noise, just sort of it's like trying to reload. Yo, yeah, definitely, yeah. Cause one of the channels I watch has a very Trump and it's a much more kind of Trump in the same kind of octave as as like Joe or whatever, right? Where it's more just kind of lower and kind of just like a speaking voice kind of thing, right? People are so used to Trump being this loud guy, and it's like, well, no, it's like when he's actually just talking, like naturally his voice is kind of it's Trump, but it's it's still down here a bit. uh, well, at first I didn't think I was gonna vote because I had to get um, my ID renewed, and then I did. Um, and there's just been so much going on. Um, Originally, I was like, I have no idea, but at this point, it would. I mean, it's another thing where it's like kind of. I had the same situation where it was like Trump and Hillary. It's like I I was basically peer pressured into voting for Trump. I didn't want to. I thought it was a stupid idea. So so the answer to the question, if I decide to go vote, it would probably just be Kamala, just because I need something to I was like, yeah, I'm just like, if I'm like, I might as well have I'm like, it's funny now because the dichotomy is that now Trump's the crazy old guy, and Kamala's just the weird. It's very Hillary Clinton in a way, just personality wise. But younger, very much so. Yeah, because Kamala. There's things that Kamala says that are very very her. When she's trying to have these like, she's trying to sound deep, and anyone that tries to sound deep almost always ends up saying something that sounds like gibberish. Mm. Yeah. Mm. No, no, no. Oh, no, no. Believe me. Yeah. Definitely the. Yeah. Go ahead. So yeah, I was just. I yes. This is the second time you asked. Don't worry. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm not holding it against you. Just confirmation. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Hmm. Yeah. Right.
Straight through the gate. We gotta get out of here before the bull show. Hurts, huh? They're shooting. Don't let him get away. Drop back, you bastard.
Right. Mm. Yeah. Hmm. I'd strongly disagree, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, there's some rough stuff that Trump wants. That's like, I mean, actually awful for this country, but it's and he's just I don't even I wouldn't even say what he does is speaking anymore because half of what he says is arguably gibberish. Not because he thinks he knows what he's saying, but he's a lot of it's just it's it's stuff. It's age is catching up with Trump too is the thing. Um, no, no, yeah. It's very incoherent because he's saying things that kind of it's what they call them run-on sentences, right? Just a series of just kind of phrases. It's there's something he might start. There's things that he might be able to finish the sentence on something, but um, definitely there's definitely like the repetition of words kind of thing where you're it's a very Trump thing to like it's like I don't like cats. People don't like cats. Cats. It's like I like dogs. Cats. It's like it's that kind of thing where it's like just everything feels very just intertwined. Um, yeah. I,
Got nothing like that to worry about with Tommy here. He was
y-
the whole
yeah.
day boss.
Sure. Yeah.
I got a growing business here. We could use a guy like you to help out around the bar. You run some errands, make sure the bills get paid on time. You up for that?
Ironically, that does sound like something Trump would say. um, except, he would say something akin to that, but he would butcher it. Is the thing. But that's just that's just a very old Trump thing. Yeah, that's I look at the end of the day, people have to accept that regardless of how one feels about an election, he was still being a sore loser. No matter how you, and everyone agrees on that. And it's like, dude, you're being 5 and you're 75. um, that's the kind of thing I was like, yeah, and look, if and there's people that like Trump, and I'll say, yeah, it's you mentioned the MAGA people, MAGA supporters. They're probably the worst thing for him. Tr- yes, yes.
They're loyal.
Oh yeah, no, it's a cult of personality so much that the literal song should be playing every time you see them, which would be an insult to that song, but um, it's a great song, yeah. It's funny because all the references in that are things that a lot. There's a lot nothing but political references in that because that's a big aspect, right? Is a lot of politicians fit in that thing. it's I always try to imagine these same people who are voting for Trump, but if it was 50 years ago, and they were watching, and they were, and they were supposed to vote for Nixon, right? Um, you know, Nixon's a whole other, can of worms, but there's but the thing was is that the way that but Nixon, even at his age, it was a very clear speaker, and you know, he was a smart guy, and I've actually, I've heard him talk before. He could talk about politics and sound like he's knows what he's saying, and I was like, I bet you for a long time he probably did and was very good at talking about that stuff. But I always think, like, would that same, like, you wouldn't see that the idea of a MAGA type group existing, all those years ago. Can you imagine Reagan having that kind of rally ship behind him? He had tons of fans, of course, right? But none of them would go as. But you couldn't ever imagine Reagan saying, "Okay, go," him saying, "Go attack the White House," right? Like even if it's indirect, right? Something it's something none of these guys would do. It's the reality is that um, at that very sad debate, uh, the reality is that there's the few things that Joe Biden said that were legitimate, like, retorts, or things like, him saying, he said it best. He said a president would never talk like this, and thing is that Joe Biden's kind of right, in that sense, and
That's collection day, boys. So Tommy, you'll drive. Paulie and Sam can handle the rest. It'll be routine.
Just a handful of stops today.
Bill at the motel was a little short last month. I'll make sure he pays us the interest he owes. No problem, boss.
yes,
Don't lay hands on anyone unless there's no other choice. Our clients need to understand that we provide a valuable service.
sure, sure,
And see, stand to mind. They need to believe we'll protect them.
So let Morella stoop to breaking legs. We're better than Bill's still due, and everyone pays up.
yeah,
Go see Ralphie about a car.
Okay, boss.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He didn't directly say go attack. Yeah, oh yeah. I, oh yeah, no. The funny thing is what was it? There's a because somebody, so, like, Mike Pence, which is a name that nobody likes to say, but so much time has passed that it's whatever, um, he's a whole other nutcase, but he's a little more level-headed, um, in the sense that he can actually sit down and have a conversation compared to someone like Trump can. But somebody asked him in an interview, it was shown that Pence very much was starting to disagree with how Trump was doing things. And he very much stands by being someone that's like, yeah, let me just, he's like, yeah, this is, um, just not caring about it, just saying that, yeah, he acknowledging that Trump messed up, that he definitely had, that there was some effect that was there. Um, you know, yeah. He had a horrible cabinet. I think about that, and I'm always just reminded. I was like, there used to be a time when that was like a, a it was a joke about Bush was sort of making fun of him and his cabinet and making fun of like Dick Cheney and all these people, even though it was a very good cabinet, it was just a very easy punching bag, I guess, back then. But mostly just because Bush was an easy punching bag. Um, but I always think about it, it's like, but he was surrounded by people that were, I mean, very actually very good at their job. Regardless, I was like, it's like at the end of the day, I'm like thinking about all these people, and I'm like, none of them. I'm thinking about Trump's cabinet, and I'm like, the dude. I mean, the dude had this woman at like a at. Do you know about the? She's not a lawyer. She was, I forget what the hell she was, but someone that Trump hired for legal stuff, whatever. While he was still president, and this woman's at like a hearing of some kind, and she is like plastered. She's doing a lot of this stuff a little bit. Yeah, this woman. Yeah, I was like, oh my god. It's like you hired. I was like, you hired that woman, huh? Yeah, yeah. It's very clear. It's very clear this woman had taken like like she had like I think a coffee. I was like that woman did poured a flask in there or something. She was like full on like wine mom, just gonna do this, and that was in the actual. Oh God, you're right. Oh, I forgot about the drain the swamp thing. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, oh yeah. And also, how? Just so many things. I'm like, is fucking Shrek gonna show up and go bitch at him about that? I'm like, no, it's weird. Nah. Which, which ironically, have, yeah, I've always stood by this. I'm like, look, I will never be the kind of person that's like, yeah. There's no one. I said it does not matter whether a person likes or doesn't like Trump. There's no sane person should be like, I'm going to go shoot this man. That's not the mind of a sane person, which of course it was not. The 20-year-old that was clearly mentally ill. Perhaps. I couldn't tell you the exact definition, but I could probably guess. But feel free to. But just in case I'm dead wrong. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Oh, the Winter Soldier, basically, is what you mean. You should have just said that. I was like, oh, that's. Oh, I mean that's what. Yeah, but that's what Bucky is. He just, Captain America's friend. Yeah, he literally he gets captured, and yeah, literally the like 17 applesauce 45. Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh, if I ever watch that again, I might actually listen for that. I just Oh no, I was just thinking because you said Iron Man, and then I got PTSD about the fact that they're like, oh yeah, no, bring back Robert, man. But yeah, he'll be Doctor Doom now. Don't worry about it. Be fine. He'll save the MCU. Like, why? What's the benefit? The I the real irony is Deadpool is the thing that has saved the MCU, whether they want to believe it or not. Which I am. I said to myself, I said I was gonna see at least one movie this year, and I said it's gonna be Deadpool Wolverine because nothing else is gonna stand. I'm like, that is the movie of the summer, whether we want to believe it or not. And oh, it's so good. But um, I did. No, 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 no. Yeah. Yes. Oh, very much so. Yeah. Oh no, no. No. Well, that's how you give someone PTSD is you bring that up. We origins ain't real, man. It's just oh what a look, guys. He's fighting in the Civil War and World War I. Good, good old Wolverine. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I don't know anything about Wolverine's past, but I'm like, I'm like fucking Wolverine's 250 years old. Like, okay, I'm like, I guess, yeah. I I had never seen any other version of of like showing Wolverine in the past like that, so um, I didn't really have that. It's not like something like Spider-Man where people have seen like 20 versions of it, but there's always even though there might be similarities, there's always something that they might do a little different, like because like I got to watch like the entirety of the '90s Spider-Man show, and it's probably one of the best Marvel cartoons to exist. It's just yeah, yeah. Mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. Don't you love how the cartoon does it right? It's so funny to me. I'm watching that. I was like, because I remember a friend telling me about that, and he had mentioned the little Venom arc And I was like, okay, I'm kind of curious, and I watch and I go, oh wow, I'm like, not only do they justify why there's this alien slime thing here. They not only give it context, but they're like, okay, and it is this, because that was a big issue with Spider-Man 3 was Venom was never supposed to be a thing in that movie. Sandman was, which is why the Sandman parts are arguably the strongest part of that movie. Not that that's saying much, but you gotta find some good in it. It's not a whole lot, but I would say Sandman is probably the best aspect of that movie for sure. Yeah. So yeah. Every strong aspect of that trilogy is because of Sam Raimi. Everything about that feels wrong about that movie is just studio meddling. That's all that stuff. The fact that there's 3 villains in that movie, right? All that all that crap. It's all Sony. Sony was like, we got money, 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 money. All that. Yeah. I was gonna say, amazing version of Eddie Brock in that cartoon as well. Um, it probably helps that. Well, first off, the guy voicing him is one of the Simpsons people, so by default, that helps. And he's just someone that's really good at doing that kind of like, kind of asshole New Yorker, like, what are you doing? Kind of, like kind of like, he not not don't be not Topher Grace, not worried. I'm like, I have never seen a more miscast thing than Topher Grace coming in. I'm like, Topher Grace being an a-hole is that's not even his personality. I'm like, even watching, this is him coming off of that '70s show, and it's like there is not a single scene where you get to see Eric Foreman be all super sassy like that, because that's just what his version is. And I was like, I don't know if that was just. I'm like, in terms of him being like an asshole towards Peter and all that stuff, I'm like, that is stuff that Eddie Brock does do to a point. But then there was just the whole Gwen Stacy thing, and I'm just like, ugh. I'm like, yeah. Well, that was actually that was Gwen Stacy done right, because that's an actual comic book series is with him and Gwen Stacy. That's which, yeah, they did that right. Yeah, she does die. Yeah, I yeah. Yeah, not the same person, but it definitely a character that does exist in that universe, in even in that version. Someone that does, that does know who Peter is. They go to like school together, or whatever. That's she's also, because she's in the cartoons usually is being an actual fleshed out character, again being voiced by someone that actually it was not just brought in there just to be a pretty face, which helps that Bryce Dallas Howard actually got to have a career and do things. And when I saw her as a redhead, I didn't know which one was the wig and which one was the real hair. Come to realize, no, just natural redhead. Yeah, yeah. It's that's yeah, because that's why I always felt a little bad about those Sony Venom movies not doing as well as they should have, because for them to want to do that is not a horrible idea, right? It's kind of, the idea, because most people usually can make the connection with those two. Um, I will say, regardless, Tom Hardy's, Tom Hardy's a little bit better, but not by much. He at least looks like Eddie Brock. Go ahead. Sure, sure, yeah, yeah. And believe me, there's yeah, you got to pace it out, yeah. Which is the issue with all these Sony movies that they coming out, right? Is you know, you watch Morbius, it's got pacing issues among other things, but what Madam Web's got pacing issues. Both the Venom movies, to my understanding, have pacing issues um, as well, and it's just like, how do you keep messing this up? Hell, the second Venom movie was they're gonna have Carnage in it. I'm like, oh, you're gonna you get the whole trio that way. Um, because I was like, that's cool, but it just yeah, yeah. He also directed the classic movie Lion King, and not the and I don't mean the good one. It's funny. There's a trailer. They have a movie coming out that's a prequel movie about Mufasa, right? To that movie, and the newer movie looks better. I was like, I was sitting there. I was like, oh my god, you gave them expression and everything, and I was like, wow, they actually did listen. I'm like sitting there. I'm like, I'm not gonna like pat Disney on the back, but I will say, I'm like, good for recognizing some, because it's I'm like that, because that 2019 Lion King is bad, and also it's and also a lot of and also all the Mufasa scenes are terrible because um because Mufasa sounds like a grandpa. Because as you might know, James Earl Jones is not young. um, 25 years is it's definitely a lot. A lot of time between the two releases. Yeah, because he's the only one that came back. Um, yeah. Oh, oh, oh yeah. It's like Mark Hamill is a man that has so much personality, but I swear you'd never with how he with his way of playing Luke. I was like they basically wrote him like he's like a sitcom character in episode 8. He literally does things where it's like you're expecting a laugh track to come around. Um, the from yeah, throwing this lightsaber, the stupid the blue milk scene, right? Where he turns to the camera and he's got it on his face. Like it's, I'm like, are you trying to make your 4-year-old laugh? Like what? I yeah. It's, I will say the fact that it's yeah, the fact that he does it without saying anything. It is good comedic timing, which is a weird, it's not a very strange thing to think about with Star Wars, but there's definitely a right way and a wrong way to do it. Yeah, I have nothing. I do get the idea. It's like Luke is clearly, you know, he's older and he's just tired of this shit, right? He gives up. He's 100% gives off Danny Glover and Lethal Weapon vibes a little bit. Just that, like, I am old and I'm just like, get me out of here. Yeah, I was the bet the best thing in episode 8 for me is the Yoda thing, where because Yoda, everyone knows that Yoda is like clinically insane. He is. They're like, oh, he's such a deep guy. He's a Jedi master. I was like, no, Yoda's mentally ill. And he just sets the tree out of fire, and I'm just like, that is the. I remember that, and I was like, that is the funniest thing in this movie. I'm like, that has, like, I don't think it was supposed to be that way, but it definitely, definitely, yeah, it came off. Yeah, yeah. Oh, oh no, last thing you want to do. Oh, don't get people started on the prequels. I'll have a whole thing on that. Um, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. He finally gets to be a ghost one time. I mean, well, the answer is because it's Liam Neeson, but I mean, the smart ass answer would be that, but yeah, in that sense, it's hard to say. But when they did the Obi-Wan show, right? I think the one thing is the whole time it's just Ewan McGregor is just trying to get to that point, and he's just like, Master, what do I do? And then quite, yeah, a little rough around the edges. Not yeah, not the worst. Yeah, I did enjoy it. It's not like the worst thing ever made. I think people just give crap. This thing's a lot of crap. Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Becomes a comedy road trip at that point. Just like, guys. Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was, yeah. I will say that. Thank you for getting Hayden Christensen the chance to actually play Darth Vader properly. Like, he got screwed over so bad because of how he had to play. Um, he was playing Anakin the way that he was told. You know. Oh, Oh, there's a reason that he only directed the first movie originally. Do you? Oh no! Listen, George Lucas is. I learned that he George Lucas gets ideas and Apparently, he had an idea for the Indiana Jones movie that was about like forbidden love, which translates to Indiana Jones falls in love with a child. And Spielberg said, "Hell to the no." Yeah, I hate I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, it gets everywhere. I'm like, I mean, he's not wrong, but
So that's how a regular palooka goes from cabbie to mob enforcer overnight, is it? Just dumb luck.
Didn't feel that way at the time. Me parking on
yeah,
a
it does.
regular street, taking a break just when Paulie and Sam.
Sorry, chewing. I said, yeah, it does.
Like, I don't know, like someone was watching out for us.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, pal, but it's a lucky break all the same. I mean, one day you're busting back.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, for sure. Yeah. What's funny is that you know they ended up the guys that they had playing Anakin and Obi-Wan were doing it so well and and to some people arguably better that they would just keep using them. You know, they were already using them to be like their sound-alikes, right? When they would have you play Episode 3, the two people they have as sound-alikes are those two actors that voice Anakin and Obi-Wan respectively of in the Clone Wars and what have you. And when and it's funny is I realized this I was playing Skywalker, the Lego Star Wars recently, the newest one, the one that has all 9 movies in it, and just playing with a friend. Episode 3, and and I'm just watching this act out these scenes from Episode 3, and I'm like, this guy's so. Like this guy. I was like, why is Anakin so much better here? I was like, and I realized I was like, I think it might be the same guy voicing him. No, I'm well in the that Lego game. I think it was this. I think it was that same voice actor from the Clone Wars, because I was like, because I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm not used to Anakin having so much personality, right? I've seen the Clone Wars and I know how well he's played, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there like, I think it's the same guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, no. There's a lot of what was it? Because same thing. I know Darth Maul, and if that in either that show or the sequel show, got some love too, and was actually written as a character, because that's Darth Maul is one of those like characters that got away. I didn't even know he had any. I didn't know that he even had a line in the Phantom Menace. I thought it was mute the whole movie. But they gave him one line, which is just him responding back to Palpatine, basically. I just love sitting there. I'm like, I was like, you're telling me that, I was like, who wouldn't sit there and be able to figure out, this Darth Sidious guy, he sure sounds, like, it's like, it's literally, it's not even like Palpatine's hiding his voice or anything. I'm like, Palpatine sounds less, the only time Palpatine sounds different is when is in those prequel movies, because he's younger. He's not full on, but when he goes full dark side and he's just doing the whole unlimited power kind of thing, just all that stuff. It's just crazy.
Tommy, thanks for getting down here so quickly. Sure thing, boss. You know there's a race coming up.
It's right, yeah.
Mikey Dunn. That's the guy. He's a good kid, but a bit of a scrapper. Not too smart with his money.
Yeah.
Years ago, Mikey comes to me asking for a loan. He wants to get new tires so he can keep racing junkers out of the quarry. I like fast cars. I figured it'll be a bit of a hobby. Turns out.
I mean, I mean, Palpatine isn't very subtle, to be fair.
He walks the track. He graduates from the junkers to gouge out,
Which,
and I start placing a few bets.
and I mean, I don't know, and I assume maybe that was how Lucas probably saw it. He's like, well, he's like, he's a younger Palpatine is, he's a little bit more smooth, right? He's not full on, yeah, but there's hints of it, but but the guy's still doing the voice a little bit, I always thought it was funny that the same guy is doing both roles, but he was older when he was playing the younger version, and vice versa. Like, yeah. Which it probably helps that they didn't have to do much in that sense.
None of our wages is stable. Everyone will cry foul, say the race is fixed.
What about his car?
That's the ticket, Tommy. Ralph knows a guard at the track. You go down there tonight, boost the European's car.
Yes.
Bring it to one of our mechanics and make a few adjustments. You bring the car back.
Oh yeah. And then when she got to be in live action, right? In I think it was an Obi-Wan. Mandalorian. Thank you. Yes, because I was just thinking about I mean, I mean obviously it's Rosario Dawson, so I mean it's gonna be acted well regardless. But I just thought it was interesting. I was like, she doesn't half-ass it either, and I was like, huh. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, it doesn't matter that she's 42. It's the fact that she's she's physically well, built like the character, and can actually, and is familiar with, and if my understanding is that she's very familiar with Star Wars anyways, so oh yeah, well yeah. There's the famous Bill Burr being in Mandalorian, and Bill Burr famously would always say how much he fucking hated Star Wars, and he would be very. And I say it like that because he was really like, to him it was like the biggest joke in the world, right? It was it's just one of many bits that he had, right? But something that he kind of became synonymous with. One day somebody shows him a script for a show that happens to be Star Wars adjacent. And he's like, it's a good script, but it's like, I'm not so sure, it's Star Wars, right? So they said, we'll show you, let's show you the set. So he comes to the actual set. And, you think about the sets in the Mandalorian, a lot of them are very, very distinct, right? Very, very Star Wars in that sense. And he comes to the set and he's like, "Oh my god, he goes like, holy shit, this looks amazing." And he started, so he came around on it, and then he actually got to do and then when he actually got to shoot the scenes, he actually was enjoying himself, and he's like, "This is awesome." And now he's like, I got to be in a Star Wars show, and it's to him, it's a badge of honor, not instead of just. Yes. I think the thing I've joked about is I'm so used to how he talks as a person that it was funny. I was like, this, he literally has to be PG on purpose because he's doing a show that's made for everyone in mind, right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, definitely. I am the asshole that will sit around and I'm like, if one of you motherfuckers calls him Baby Yoda one more time, I will stuff you in my coffin. Like, I'm just like, I am not some Star Wars purist, but I'm like, just call him the name. I know it looks like Yoda. It's like yes, it's a baby that Yoda made, but it's not that. It is. How much have you seen? Oh, oh yeah. It- don't worry, it's not like it's yeah. Sorry, it's, it's small. Trust me, it's not like some huge plot point. It's just like a. It's more of just an acknowledgement of just it's Grogu has some connection, but that's it. Yeah. Yeah, basically. No, exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no deep like there's no like entire episode talking about that Yoda did this. It's just an acknowledgement of, oh, by the way, that's his baby. Don't worry about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's no. I I had my fill of Star Wars stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, there's shows that I've seen the entirety of that I know a lot about, but but if someone's asked me, do I know, could I name, but am I gonna remember, what in which season some of those episodes are? Probably not, unless it's something that's super obvious. That's like I've seen every episode of House multiple times, so there's certain aspects of that show where I can definitely pinpoint because um, a lot of it, for the most part, is it's split up not just between the having two, technically three sets of teams, but when most people think of that show, they think of his first team that they have because those are the characters that they just kind of like synonymous with that show. Most most people that probably were watching it was watching some of the later stuff because there's a whole thing of you know House finally getting arrested, and then that's a couple episodes, and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah. No, go ahead. Oh, it's been a minute. Like a lot of things. Oh, I've never watched a full arc. I no, I mean I've seen it I've seen it in bits and pieces because it's like because I was because a lot of shows that people were watching it you know some shows people watch because it's like they could only watch it you can only watch it so much because a lot of it is coming from that generation of it's like before streaming and all this stuff, and then just like by the time and then just you'd sometimes you'd remember a show and you just wouldn't even I just completely would forget about it, um but I do, but it's one of those shows where it would get mentioned, and then I would just sort of like, and I'd come across clips, and I definitely would watch episodes here and there. But yeah, it's but it has been a long time. Regardless, it's yeah, that's the big thing. It's just lack of. I mean, yeah, right. Mm, oh, that's weird. Okay, yeah, yeah, very yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah. My, because I got to a point where it's like I don't know. It's just like the same way with like gaming too, where it's like sometimes there's just things that are just better to watch than to play. Um, because I feel like the person playing it just they have more of a connection to it, and you just sort of enjoy watching it. It's because that's like I've never played Metal Gear Solid in my life really, other than a demo, but the first game. But there's just something more entertaining about someone who actually has a connection to it, and you're just sort of kind of watching it through them. You know what I mean? Mm. Ugh. Okay. Sure, sure, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, no, yeah, I watched. Yeah, I had a brother. I watched his big Final Fantasy nerd, so watch it play like Final Fantasy 8 and 9 a lot. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. It was just like look at the pretty colors. Yeah, just yeah, just of that time period. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even I was like that too. I mean, like I didn't really, even when I played games, I'm like it really didn't hit for me much until maybe late middle school. Um, yeah, because I mean, I had stuff, but it's like, by the time, once, like I would, handheld gaming, sure, like I had a DS, so a lot of, stuff on there, play Pokemon or whatever, think that was the most productive I was being, gaming wise. That was keeping me going. Um, and then once I got the 360 and I learned about games, that's when I got to, you know, that's when I eventually got to try, just, like then I got to try Skyrim, Minecraft, and all that stuff, right? Actually, kind of and so a lot of this was very late, stuff that was already been on the system for years. Um, it was because when I got it, it was like late, late Xbox 360 era. The like talking, 2011, 2012 here, kind of thing. Yeah, I was maybe 2010, but yeah, it was just all that stuff. Go ahead. Yes. God. Right, right. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. You played. Yeah. Listen. Yeah. I had there's a PS2 in this house, but you think that was because it was bought? Hell no. My brother and I had saved up money together, like birthday money or whatever. And we're just like, okay, we're like, here you go, mother, buy this for us, or whatever, kind of thing. But that was a choice that we made. And of course, the irony is that I used it way more than he did. But I would like, so he'd be, he just, he kind of grew out of it fast, and I was, when I was in like fifth grade, I was messing around with stuff on it. Um, the Wii was like probably I say the Wii is probably the first one I really used it with. That was the first like big console I was getting into because I had Brawl on that, and Mario Galaxy, right, of course, and things like this, which I remember beating that game at night, and it was like 1 a.m. or whatever, and I remember it well because my brother was like leaving the next day, because he was this is sort of the phase for him when he was starting to like, I want to go travel the world kind of thing and do stuff. So this is, I think, back when he was, getting ready to, I was gonna say he was, either, I think this was, because first place he ever traveled to was I think Beijing, I want to say, and he had a girl that became his wife, for a bit, and then that just, and then they split up, and he moved on, and he's just kind of been, just kind of floating around doing his thing, and then eventually he ended up in Japan teaching English, and there's like a whole program for that stuff like that, to teach English in Japan. It's you basically you get you essentially get attached to someone that's already at the school, and then but then there's just all these things about like you don't, the program just says here, do this. You don't know where you're gonna end up. So people, when they think of it, they imagine like oh, it's gonna be so great and all this stuff, but there's a person who's I discovered on YouTube that who she did just that. She was part of the program, but she got sent to this like rural Japanese island. So basically, their presence there was, people would just kind of look at them like they were just like what the fuck are you doing here? Cause Um, so I could, so yeah, um, so I could say that my brother amazingly did not get the short end of the stick, at least as far as I'm aware, because I had never heard about this program or people or how it's how it's very like unpredictable. So I guess my brother just kind of got lucky in that sense. He's just a very he's also just a very social guy to begin with. So um, and he did all that. So yeah, so it's just a lot of that stuff. So, yeah. So there's always like little things like that I can associate it or in high school playing Minecraft with my buddy who was like he was a building champion. He was one of those assholes that would build all the way up to the skybox. You know the ones. I would like sit there and I go, and I would like hurt my neck because I was like doing this. I was like, I was looking at the screen, but I had to like kind of sometimes tilt my head a little bit because I had to move with the camera a little bit because it just got too high, and I was like, I can't fucking build the stuff, man. I was like, it's gonna kill me, but so there's little things like that here and there. One of my oldest YouTube videos is just the Halo 3. It's just that. It's just building forage. Yeah. He told it was what was it? It was we were on a map and he knew about like a something that could happen. What was it? That we didn't expect to happen, but it was like something happened where the warthog just kind of had a freak out for a moment. And just like in the just, just yeah, just sort of it was just sort of how it was. We ended up just kind of we like realized we could do that, and he was telling me about it, and then we did it as a um and then we recorded something with my shitty ass camera. I had this, I don't even know what the hell you'd want to call it. Um yeah, it's a small recorder. I mean, that's what I did, and then I could hook it up, and it had like a little USB built into it that would just pop out, and you just plug it into a USB port. Um, yes, I had no way to, and I had no way to edit this stuff. Of course, there was a program that would open up, and I think in the actual program had a laptop that worked better. The laptop I was using was probably from like the mid 2000s or something. Um, um, no, not too. I wouldn't not too bulky. Um, but definitely like just like an old like kind of Dell laptop kind of thing. One of those. Yeah, it's black and just sort of something my mom used to use. Yeah, very much made for minimal stuff because my mom wasn't always she wasn't always doing a lot on the internet. She was always very tech savvy, but originally she used to like back in the day she was like everyone else and was like you know they were like it's like how Christians are with gay people. They're just like be gone, Satan. They just like couldn't comprehend it. Um, I no, I know. Thinking about it now, I couldn't. Wasn't the original choice in my head, but basically the idea of it is an extreme viewpoint, because that's how people were about just about technology in general. I should say it's not a new thing, but for some reason with computers, people were just like get that thing out of here. It was weird that my mom had that opinion because she worked somewhere that used computers even back then. So I always thought it was very strange that she. Oh, sure, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, which she did very much, as did a lot of people, but or, you know. Oh yeah, when I was a kid, I knew like 3 websites maybe. Um, I it was I had a website I went to that was just, I mean, it's a 2000, so it's just flash games everywhere, right? Um, I found a bunch over time, of course, and some of them, and some game, of course, flash games would also always be made in the moment, right? If something was relevant. So, so speaking of Trump, ironically enough, do you remember the whole Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump thing? So yeah, people that so I remember that whole in that moment there were just so I was like on a website and I swear it was like an entire like front page was like 20 different flash games that was just that, and it would just be like them beating the shit out of each other or whatever, and that's all it was. But they would work really well. That's the thing, is like they'd be like kind of like these like dumb fighting games, but they would be like pretty well animated. And I'm like, I can't hate it for that. It's like I found some weird stuff. There is a game I found that would on a website that would sometimes work and sometimes not work. And the thing was that it ran it used Java. So it made it, and it was this like Wonka inspired game, and it was just this. You moved around as a Wonka hat, and you just and like a. It looked like looked like some kind of screensaver or something, but you just move around in this like twisting pathway, right? And you just collect candy, chocolate, and all that, and that's all you did in it. But it was fully 3D, and it looked good. It looked like it's like an App Store game, honestly. It largely looks better than most things on the App Store, I might add. So I was like, I don't know how it was made, but I was like, huh. So I have to assume that this was maybe something that was made by an actual company. That yeah. So I have to assume it ended up on the website because that's what you did back then. Which just shut down. You might have heard. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, it's like that. I think I was gonna say I think they had like a one that's like kind of like a River City Ransom kind of thing, like those beat 'em up games. Yeah, it's a good genre. Yeah, the there's a Teen Titans game that came out in the 2000s that plays like one of those games of the time where it's like there's multiple characters and it's 2 player and all that stuff, right? And it's just that kind of like semi mindless beat 'em up stuff, but it definitely plays a lot better, I think, than most do, because from a base standpoint, it definitely looks like every other game of the time. But I think there's just something about the Teen Titans aesthetic that kind of works in its favor. It doesn't feel like some game that was just like rushed out. It feels like it was made with at least some care, and it's being able to use being able to use the voice actors, right, and the audio is like very crisp and clear. And I was not like BioWare, but it in the sense that it's a licensed game that isn't completely garbage. It feels pretty decent, competent. It's not. It's the kind of thing you might play once or twice, but It's it's but there are games of that time that I think are pretty good. Like I remember playing the Chronicles of Narnia game of all things, and it's very strange. And I always thought it was very funny that that movie opens up in World War II, when it just starts with them almost dying, which can happen in the game. Is if you, the losing screen essentially means that a bunch of children just got killed by a nuke or whatever, by bombs dropping on their house and wherever they are. Yeah, yeah, I know. Everything about it, I always thought it was like, first off, isn't this a? I was like, this is like a family movie, but isn't it? I always thought, I was like, I was, I always thought that would have been a bad idea. I was like, I assumed that the whole World War II thing is from the book, but it's based off of. But I'd never read the book, and I'm wondering, I'm like, is it darker in the book, or I'm like, is this the? I'm like, man, I was like, how do you get a? Because I was like, how do you get away with that? I was like, I don't hate him for not I was like, thinking, then there's you don't have to like emphasize every aspect of it, but I'm glad it didn't shy too from it. But I was like, yeah, I mean, like, you probably should have given a little more setup. It's maybe the one thing I always thought about with that story. I was like, there's no, yeah, like you said, there's no, you mentioned like all this happens and it's like, and then there's just bombs going off, and that's just where the story starts. I was like, it's starting at a climax essentially, when it should be starting a little more. Yeah, it should be. It should build up to it. Yeah, yeah. It's everything. It's like, yeah, it's normal day. That then the bombs are coming. Then the wardrobe. Um, although although it makes you realize how dark of a movie that is, because you realize that everything's the same on the outside, which means there's just dead people out there. But here's fucking Liam Neeson as the lion, right? It's whimsical. And here's the guy that played young Professor Xavier, who I did not know for a long time was actually Scottish, until I finally heard him talk. I was so used to because I remember because I saw him in Wanted, and he's doing an American accent there, and then when he's playing Xavier, right, he's trying to do the Patrick Stewart kind of thing, to some degree. And I thought he would, and I just assumed that's just how he talked. And then I saw him on Top Gear, and he was full on Scottish. And I was like, huh. I was like, dude's talented. Oh yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah. He shot a movie here, right? A couple years back. Yeah, there's a movie called Cherry that came out in like 2021, I want to say, something like that. Maybe 2019. Yeah. Of course, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm sure the courthouses and the Avengers, right? Stuff like that. So, what's crazy to me is he yeah, I was gonna say, like, because I've heard him. Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard him. Hearing it, yeah, I was like, I never get used to hearing him talk. And then I've heard his voice in comparison to like Andrew Garfield, and it always throws me off because they're kind of similar, but not, but also not the same, and one's clearly deeper than the other. Um, yes, yeah. Yeah. He is. Everyone. It's that's the thing is like that's why everyone was like, well, everyone's like, why does everyone love Toby as Spider-Man? They're like, well, because he was literally writ because everything about how Tobey Maguire looks and how he plays that character is very much based off of that version of Peter Parker. Um, but but he's also but Andrew Garfield's just like the better Spider-Man because of his he's very charismatic, right? Yeah. Oh, he's. Oh yeah, he's a horrible Peter Parker, but that's because nobody believed him as Peter Parker. They're like, dude, yeah, like you said, yeah. I'm like, you you look you don't look nerdy. You look like an '80s jock, but truth be told, uh, yeah, yeah. That's true. Yeah, there's they used to write Superman comics back in the day, and they would basically create the equivalent of clickbait in magazine form because they would make fake they would make covers, right, and the whole idea was that like a kid or whoever would see it, right, and it would look like Superman is being an asshole. There's like an actual like term for it, called super dickery, and it's a real thing. It's this whole genre, and and then it's all bait to look like to make you think that Superman's gonna like it'll be like it looks like he's like trying to kill Lois Lane or something like that, right? It's that kind of stuff. Very much not, but it's literally what we know. When we think of rage bait now, right? It's literally the same thing. It's just what it's just TikTok videos, but in the 50s. It's the exact same thing. Um, which is what these covers were 100%. And people that wrote for these comics hated them because they weren't like they weren't the main Superman comics to begin with, which is why they was so it was just so it's like this spin-off series that they would do, and they were 100% written with this idea to be just clickbait essentially, and it would yeah so the actual story, yeah, so it would actually the actual cover would hint about what the story is. So there's one where it's like the implication is that he's is I guess a big thing also is that Jimmy Olsen was in a lot of these, the guy that works at Clark Kent. um because I guess they wanted to kind of branch out with him because back in the day Jimmy Olsen used to be a character that that people gave a crap about because he's actually not that boring if you do something with him. Um, it's that's why it almost that's why I mentioned like the Spider-Man 3 and the um and that how that character's almost there but not quite. It's I it, yeah, so yeah I will say the thing is that like Christopher Reeve is the best Superman because he's the most fitting for the role. Um, well, it's just I mean, when he would play Clark Kent, I mean, he was the Tobey Maguire of that generation in that sense. He could play both and be convincing as because Clark Kent was a dweeb that would just kind of like he'd bumble around or something. He'd do little mannerisms and like he'd look shy or whatever. But obviously, Christopher Reeve, very handsome guy, and when he'd be Superman, he would be very charismatic at the same time. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is that asshole Superman is in one of the movies in Spider in Superman 3, I believe. Um, aka aka the one with Richard Pryor in it. um, which should sound like a badge of honor, but this is '80s Richard Pryor, so it's not. Um, oh yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. He, yeah, yeah. The thing is, they're like, well, Batman doesn't kill. It's like, yeah, he certainly doesn't gun down people. Does Batman kill people? He's like, sometimes. It's very rare. Um, in Michael Keaton, the first Michael Keaton Batman, he literally drops a guy. Um, that's which is something that Batman does do. It's you know, he doesn't gruesomely murder anyone. That's something that the Joker might do, but not Batman. Yeah, yeah. That's a good question. I don't know. I just okay. Oh, don't give him any ideas. You know what's funny is Michael Bay produced those Nickelodeon Ninja Turtle movies, and yeah, and the thing is that like, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was thinking like I was like, if he doesn't, I'm like, I think about it, I'm like, that original Transformers movie. It's like people do still like that one, and I think it's because it's so more concrete compared to all the other ones. Um, it's I know it's the famous, it's there's the famous joke about how they all look, when they fight, they look like garbage balls, right? And I mean, they do. Depends on what they're doing, right? It's I think it's not Michael Bay's fault the way they look, of course. Um, I don't know how. I'm sorry that you like the second one, but you were a kid, so I fall in. Oh, did you? I thought you said Revenge of the Falling. I was like, what are they falling from? Oh no, yeah, I heard it wrong. That's, that's no, yeah, I feel like if someone could make a version of a couple of those movies where I always thought of myself, it's like, it's a terrible movie, but I was like, what if you could cut out all the human stuff, right? And it was just this stuff, and I was like, well, okay, you cut that out, you cut out most of the human stuff, and you cut out the robots that nobody talks about. I feel I'm so sorry for I feel so bad. Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob, had to voice the two most objectively racist characters ever to be put on a screen, and it's just two robots who are, it's just a white dude doing the most, stereotypical. I sound like a black dude from the hood voice is because he didn't know that he was so he didn't know that so he was the thing was that he came in, he was just doing recording for something. I don't think he didn't actually expect it to be in the movie, and then he found out that he was put in the movie, and it's just him doing the little robots, and one of them, one of them literally has a grill and everything, and right, and I'm just like, ugh. It's like, yeah, oh, both, oh, they're both token. They're so Token. Yeah, I'm like you can't. I know there's people that hate the third one more, and I'm like, it doesn't. I was like, there's no. I'm like, yeah, but I don't. I'm like, I think the worst thing in 3 might be the deep Wang joke or whatever, but there's stuff like that. But I always said that I was like, I was like, man, if you could rewrite these movies and you could make the fight scenes look better, right? And it was just that, I think it would work. I always thought that's why Bumblebee to me is such a good movie, because I was like, this to me, I was like, not only is Bumblebee always on the screen, but Bumblebee was that? Well, does he? No, I think I think he, yeah, most of the movie is yeah. I think it's I think in because I know in one it's maybe it might be the first one, I think, where he's talks for a little bit, like actually speaks and then loses. But no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm trying to think of. Okay, yeah. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, they kept that. It's his whole thing in that movie is the girl has it's set back in the 80s or 90s, whenever and she's got like cassette tapes, and that's where he learns about that. So she's like tries to do it with him, and he realizes he can talk that way, right? And that's where it's when he like does the puts a thing in and talks, right? It's literally there's literally an episode of Futurama. This is the same joke. It's which is probably done better, of course, but it's the same idea. It's still it's charming. I will say there are scenes like that I'm okay with, because because the thing is that it'll be like a song that plays, right? But it's to convey a point or whatever, and it's how he communicates. And I'm like, it's like but it works. I mean, yes, Autobots. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. I will say what's really funny is going back. Is no. You go ahead. Yeah, you please. I'm doing it now. This is- no, my apologies. Yeah. Yeah. It's how you can do the radio, and he's with Sam, but he's with Sam, and I'm like, how does no one? You're telling me? I was like, doesn't Sam know people or the military? Yeah. And speaking of voices, something funny I always thought about was, if you go back to the original, you think about how Optimus Prime sounds, and that voice has always been there. The funny thing is, in the original, like the actual Transformers from the '80s, if you hear Optimus talk, it's actually a little bit higher than what it is. Because I mean, obviously, with age coming, of course, and affecting that. Because I remember the first time I heard it, I thought about like, because I was like, he still sounds cool, and the thing, and then when I learned is that guy who's still he's still doing voiceover stuff all the time. He's Well, just anything. Oh, just whatever. Yeah. I mean, he's always doing characters with that voice. I'm sure he's done. I'm sure he's done plenty of stuff with Optimus, though. Um, someone said that they were they got to be like in the director's seat. Like it's sometimes the actual voice actors are in the business so long that they actually get that privilege to take the reins. And so he was in there and he's like, hey Peter, can you do a it's always it's such an easy thing. It's like it's literally Optimus Prime. He's like Peter, can you do the thing? And then it's just like it's like Autobots roll out, and that's he's just testing the microphone. And he's just testing the microphone. That's all it is, and he's doing it because he knows everyone's just because when you're these are like idols to people. Some of them they'll be so whatever about it because they're just like because to them they're like oh we're nothing, right? One of them says it best. He says I'm really happy that people are a huge fan of some old guy from Michigan. Is how he says it because he's like to him he's like he's like to all these people they'll be like you're the voice of my childhood, and they all feel and they all know that exact same feeling because they got to work with people who also were like that, so yes. Mm. Oh. Yeah. Oh. You ever see like people they would record reactions to that stuff? Oh, I love that. I was like that is so